I demanded I got to be paid, and I have to have the money now, and he didn't have the money.
He comes to my house and is screaming at the top of his lungs, I got to have my money. That leads to violence. So I call the police and say, help.
We are first cousins. I never would have thought, she wouldn't have paid me back the money.
I feel that this was just very petty because she never said that she wanted me to pay this money back.
That's not true.
Someone's obviously not telling the truth.
Plaintiff George Flanis claims the defendant sunk their friendship by failing to pay off his boat storage fees. He's suing for $750. Defendant Joseph Visconti claims he paid off the debt by giving the plaintiff a classic car and helping him with a recent arrest. He says he owes nothing.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Thank you. The Honorable Judge Jerry Springer now presiding. Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning, Najee. How are you?
I'm doing well, Judge. Thank you.
Good.
This is case number 119 on the docket, Flanis versus Visconti.
Let me see what we have here. The plaintiff, George Flanis, is that how I pronounce it?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you are suing your former friend, you say Joseph Visconti,
That's my name.
for $750 for a loan to pay off boat storage fees.
I met Joe maybe 10, 15 years ago. We're both politically active. Joseph was on the West Hartford Town Council. So we bump into each other. A few years ago, a friend of mine, Sophie, opened a cafe, and Joe and I frequently visited to talk politics. So in 2018, I believe June, we were talking, and Joe mentioned that his boat was in the Fort Rachel Marina, and he didn't have the money to pay the docking fees to put it in. And I said, well, I can put it on my Discover card. It's going to be 18% interest, but if you pay me back in 3 months, it's only going to cost you $150 and you'll have your boat in the water for the season. So I went down to Fort Rachel. I put it on my card. It wasn't going to cost me anything, so I could do him a favor. And he agreed to pay the interest, as it occurred.
Yes, I did have a boat. George wanted me to put the boat in the water. The water was on land at the marina, so I'm like, I don't have the cash for that right now. I've got other things to do. We can take it out. We can do tours. We can have our friends over there. Kind of, in a way, convinced me, like, I don't really want to go into that. I have to pay the bill. But we did it. George was complicit in wanting to do that. But doesn't mean I don't owe the money. That means that's what he wanted. Yeah. And so the boat is a beautiful antique boat, and it did go in the water. We had a party on it one day and whatnot.
So sometime in the end of 2019 that I approached him and I demanded, Joe, that I got to be paid and I have to have the money now. I want to free up my credit. And he started making payments. And he would make a payment by mailing me a postal money order. Yeah. And on each postal money order, he wrote, loan $3,000, payment $250, balance was $750.
Right.
And that's the last statement I got to him.
So, in other words, out of that $3,000 loan, what is still remaining that we're talking about is $750?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so that's where we are now. Now what happened?
Well, in June 2019, Joe called me up, and someone had bought a house and wanted an MG that had been parked in the garage for 32 years, removed. And so he called me up. I have a truck, and I have a car trailer. And I went up there, and I took the car and the truck, and we brought it to my shop. Joe and I both trade on Facebook. We buy and sell things.
I got it.
I thought Joe was going to market it too, because he's quite capable of posting it on Facebook, on Craigslist.
Who owned the car?
I don't know. I don't know if Joe owned it. I don't know who owned it.
But how could you sell it if you didn't own it?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
Because in the state of Connecticut, in order to sell a car that's over 20 years old, all you have to do is produce a bill of sale. That's the requirement for cars over 20 years old.
Over 20 years. Okay. Did he say, hey, you can have this car and you can sell it, and that will be in exchange of me having to give you $750?
No, Your Honor. The disbursement of the funds was never discussed.
Wow. I don't know where to begin because what you heard was Swiss cheese, pieces of reality, but not total reality.
Okay.
I love George, like an older brother.
Yeah.
We've been together for years doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Usually George buys and sells old DOT trucks.
Yeah.
I'm in politics. I have a lot of different businesses, but we were friends through politics.
Sure.
And I love him because my dad, he reminds me of my father in the contracting business. So
Yeah.
anyway, we had a great relationship. But when George would sell some of these trucks that he would buy, this is over the years, I would post them on Craigslist, Facebook. I would try to help him out marketing these. This is what he did, very concise, was
Yeah.
a very elaborate process. George is owed the money. I didn't contest that in my evidence.
Right.
You'll see the checks from evidence A
Yeah.
of that. But some serious things occurred in our relationship, which when I paint the picture for you right now, you'll get an idea of what George said in a complete form. In 2018, when this occurred, George had come to me with this particular car. Let me address the car first, Exhibit B. I'm kind of jumping around.
No, that's all right.
This is the car, and the car, I did speak to George. We would find things sometimes that would come our way, and we'd sell them. So George had a place, as he said, to sell them. So he said, let's sell this thing, get what we can. He considered it rusted. He sent me a text message or something, said it was rusted. I said it is, but the drivetrain, the engine, the transmission, it's a 72 MG. There could be some value in that. Let's put it on Facebook and get money for it and throw it towards the debt that I owe. And this is how it would be.
Yeah, okay. So you suggested to him that the money, at least some of the money that came by selling that car, would go towards relieving your debt
Correct.
to him.
Correct.
You
And if
didn't say what amount, did you?
We didn't know what the amount would be. We weren't sure how you part it out, so we can't know until it actually goes on the market. And a strange event occurred in our relationship in the summer of 2018 when this was going on with the loan and the boat. George had come to me and said, I hadn't seen him for a while. And George had come to me and told me he was arrested in Florida for reoccupying a mobile home that he sold to a lady, and she paid him. And could I help him? We do a lot of weird things. Can I help him find an attorney, handwriting analysis for all these checks and whatnot? So I worked making lots of phone calls across the country to get an attorney to help him with his legal case. That was something he wanted to help me get a finder's fee if I could ever get the right attorney. I didn't know how bad the case was. I only mentioned the case briefly because it leads to my own personal experience at my home, which borderline violence with George. And that occurred in a voicemail. If you could play voicemail 1, you will hear George ask me for the money out of the blue. This is the first time I ever heard George being that pressured, that loud, that threatening.
Hey, Joe, it's George. Listen, I need cash this week. Got to come over your house every day until I get it, okay? I got to have cash this week. I did you a favor. I bailed you out, got your boat in the water. And a year's gone by, and I need my money, okay? Call me. Make sure you call me, or I'll be over your house tonight. I can't with you no more on this.
That was something I could not believe was occurring because I had been helping with his court case. And so I never had a relationship of like that before. Now, I continue to go on. George, a couple days later, when I'm out to dinner with a friend, sends him a text message, Exhibit C, and sends a text message. And in the meantime, he comes to my house. It's very important. Comes to my house after that voicemail of 1 and is screaming at the top of his lungs, whatnot, kids in the neighborhood, I got to have my money, just what you heard, even louder. I took it, I stood there, and I, oh my God, what's wrong with George? I've known him for over 10 years. Why is he acting like this? I owe the money, we all know that, and I'm going to pay him through all these different deals we do, but I didn't expect him to be this potential violence.
Yeah.
A text message comes in, Exhibit C.
Is this a Joe, I plan to call you,
Yes.
and you don't come with the money, I'll be at your house once again. I saw you walk right by me.
Yep.
You got a free pass tonight. Otherwise, I would be having dinner with you.
Yeah. So I call the West Hartford police and say, this is my friend, I owe him this money. I haven't seen him like this before. He was arrested recently. He's got a pressure and stress for something happened in Florida where they extradited him. And so I don't know how to handle this. I don't want George to come by anymore. Voicemail number 2 comes after I speak to the police and they call George on, I think it's August 31st, if you could play voicemail number 2.
Hey, Joe, the police department called me up. Tell me you don't want me over your property no more. Not to call you anymore. Well, I guess the conversation's over. I won't be calling you, Joe. I'm going to be posting everything I know about you on Facebook, okay? Take care, Joe.
I blocked him on Facebook, and we started making payments. I don't know what he ever posted. I don't care. I'm in a public life and everything. But the reality is, a good relationship with someone who was close, I think he had a lot of pressure in his life and a lot of stress. And if I'd known that, I would have definitely paid the credit card earlier.
The question that I have before me is whether the proceeds that got from the sale of that car, let me ask you this question, George. Did you sell the car?
I sold the car. I have a bill of sale for $200.
$200. So since you have said that the idea was that whatever that car would bring, it would be applied against what you still owed, in other words.
Correct.
Then what is still owed is $550.
It doesn't cover my cost, $200. What I did is first tow the car from there to Brent. That was worth $150. Then I marketed the car. I had 4 people. I answered maybe 10 calls on it. It was a very hot item. I had 4 people come down.
Yeah.
And they looked underneath it, and they said the frame's rotted, and you cannot restore this car.
Okay. The evidence that is before me is you owe him $750, $200 that he gets from that car. May have been a bad deal agreeing to that, but that's what it is. So you got that $200, so you owe him another $550, and therefore I find for the plaintiff in the sum of $550.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. I got to tell you, you take a good look at your family. You never really know who you're living with, or who you're working with. It's very eye-opening.
I'm just glad to resolve the case. I don't like disputing with my friends, and that I think Judge Gary came up with a satisfactory resolution.
Plaintiff Lauren Harris claims her cousin was in crisis when she came through with a cash loan that was never repaid. Now she's suing her for $1,000. Defendant Kayla Peterson claims the cash was a gift, not a loan. She says she owes nothing.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. The Honorable Judge Jerry Springer now presiding. Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning, Najee.
This is case number 086 on the docket, Harris versus Peterson.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge.
We have the plaintiff, Lauren Harris, and Lauren, you are suing your cousin, Kayla Peterson, for $1,000 for an unpaid loan. Lauren, what is your case?
We are first cousins. Her dad is my mom's brother. Our family is primarily small. We've always been together since we were kids. As you see in Evidence A, we were always matching, always together with each other. So as of recently, Kayla and her parents have not always been seeing eye to eye. Just communication has not been there. As of last year, her boyfriend, he went to jail. So she asked to borrow $1,000 from me to get back on her feet, help her finish paying off her apartment, and just get back on her feet. So I loaned that to her. We're very close. We've done things for each other in the past. I've never would have thought, she wouldn't have paid me back the money. She told me she would pay me back in a month. It's been going on a year now. Now she has a job. She works at a daycare. Also, she works at a call center, and she has an apartment with her sister now, so she's more so on her feet. I'm asking for the money now. I just graduated esthetician school. I just got my license. I'm trying to start my business. We're in the middle of a pandemic. I just feel like now is the time that I need my money to just get her back on my feet to help me out how I helped her out.
Okay, and now let me hear from you, Kayla. What do you say about that?
Okay, Your Honor, like Lauren has stated, we are cousins, but we was always more than that. She was always a bigger sister to me. And I always would tell her everything that was going on in my life. And previously, last year, around October, it was just a lot of tough times and a lot of things going on. My boyfriend went to jail. I had to pay rent. I had to figure out what my next step was going to be. I told her everything, and Lauren offered me $400 in October to finish paying my old apartment that I had with my boyfriend. After that, she offered $600 so I could pay my new apartment that I was getting with my sister in January. And as you can see in Evidence see. I would get her lifts to work. I would help her out as much as I can, because she never said from the start that she wanted me to pay this money back. She always just said, here you go, like it's a gift. She offered it to me.
Was there ever a conversation where she said, you know, I'd like the money back in a month, or, you know, I'd see if you can pay me back in a month?
No, it was never a deadline. It was never nothing. It was just, here you go, I'm trying to help you, and she offered it to me.
Your Honor, that's not true. As you can see in evidence B, I withdraw $1,000. I gave her the money in cash. You know, this is my cousin. I gave her the money in cash, $1,000. I never split the payment back, and I told her that she had to pay me back within a month, and she never paid me back.
Your Honor, that's not true at all. Because if you can see in evidence B, we was with each other prior to the beginning of February, and you can see that we were smiling in this picture, and she never stated or came forth to me of a deadline or when she needed to get this money back.
Lauren, you're saying that it was $1,000 at one time, and Kayla, you're saying it was first $400 and then 3 months later, $600.
Your Honor, it was $1,000 at one time, as you can see in the evidence.
I understand you withdrew $1,000 at one time, but you're saying when you withdrew the $1,000, you only gave her $400 that first time?
I gave her the full $1,000.
Okay.
But that's wrong, Your Honor, because she gave me $400 previous in October, and I didn't even know my next step until getting to the end of December to be the beginning of January, where I then asked her for $600 for the new apartment.
Oh, so you asked her for $600 for the new apartment?
Yes.
All right. I don't know why you guys are disagreeing. You're both admitting it was $1,000. Whether it was a loan or a gift, we'll settle that separately. But just on the amount, you both admit it's $1,000. Someone's obviously not telling the truth, because that's a significant amount of money.
Because it was offered to me, Your Honor.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting she didn't offer it.
I didn't want it to come to this, but unfortunately, this is what we have to do.
Here's what I see. She did something very nice for you, and I know you do nice things for her, too. You showed me. But $1,000? This isn't like giving someone a ride or paying for a meal. It was given with the idea that at some point, when you're able to, you would pay her back. And so I have to conclude that this was a loan. It's just you guys love each other. You've lived your whole lives together. Why are you fighting over this? She did something really nice. If someone gives you $1,000, you don't just go, whoa, thanks a lot, pocket it and run off. You say, oh my gosh, thank you. As soon as I'm able to, I'll get it back to you. That's what relationships are. I have to find for the plaintiff in the sum of $1,000.
I feel that this was just very petty at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, we are family, we are blood, and that's what matters more than having to be here.
I always suggest keep evidence on hand whenever you loan something out. Just back it up to make sure you can prove that you have loaned something.
Hey YouTube, thanks for watching. For more Judge Jerry, click here. For more Jerry Springer, click here.